Hey guys, thanks for joining us here. We're going to speak with Stephan Gruner, and we actually recorded this a few days ago, and the weather actually prevented us from recording the intro and the outro, so that's why we're wearing different clothes. Being downtown, I'm definitely at the mercy of the elements if all our lines are above ground. So if you see us wearing different clothes, that's why. But it's a really great conversation with Stephan Gruner, who's been a casino host for quite a long time, since the early 90s. And he has some really great and fun things to share with us. So thanks for joining us.
Hey everybody, thank you for joining us. We have a special guest on today's episode. We have Stephan Gruner, and I've known Steve for years. We brought Steve on to really talk the entire show with us because we're talking about Lunar New Year, or some of you might know it as Chinese New Year. And we thought this should be a great conversation for all of us to have. So Steve, welcome, and thank you for joining us. And tell us a little bit about your background.
I appreciate it, Billy. And again, just being a part of anything you're part of is just a privilege and honor. I've worked for you or with you for the last 20 plus years, and it's just been fun being part of the innovation of Las Vegas and how we've just grown so much. But yeah, I've been here since 1993, working for Steve Wynn at the beginning at the Mirage, and then went to Bellagio's hotel manager, and then of course went Laguna, and then came back as a casino host at the Wynn and Encore. So yeah, I've been around. What's up, David? Where are you from? What are you doing? What's your thing?
Well, to give you a quick background, I've known Billy now for 10 years, I think. We met at Cirque du Soleil.
All right.
So since then, I've been in ticketing and marketing. I focus a lot with the shows. I worked with a variety of shows on the Strip. So my expertise is a little bit of ticketing, mostly marketing, entertainment marketing. And just, I've been in Vegas my whole life, so I know Vegas, host does. So why don't you tell us what a casino host actually does?
Well, as you can see from the background, I bring in the whales, No. Truly what a casino host does is I think what anybody would do when somebody comes to your house, somebody comes to your home, what do? You welcome them. You don't just let them walk in your door, check into the room. No, you show them you have fresh sheets. There's a different level of casino host for me. For me, it's personal. When people say, oh, you don't mix business with personal, I disagree, because, you have to be your personal best when you enter this business. And if you aren't personally invested, if you don't care, they won't care, and they'll see that you don't care. And as much as you put into it, you'll get the same rewards out of it.
Is there such a thing as a typical day for a casino host?
Literally at 7 o'clock in the morning, it just starts, and you truly do not know what's gonna happen. And throughout each door you open, each call, each interaction with everybody, you really don't know where it's going to take you.
For me, let me tell you a little bit about how I was involved in that world, because I was not a casino host, but I was in casino marketing, and it was fun for me because we were kind of, my department and what I was a supervisor. So what I was in charge of was the people behind the scenes. So I was there to help people like in Steve's position that were dealing with these. I mean, he's putting it in a very simple, nice term. Yeah, you made the hotel look good to these guests. We made everything happen for you. So when you had that guest that wanted to go to a show, wanted to go to a restaurant, you made a phone call to us, or you sent an email to us, and we booked all that stuff. And that was exciting. That's exactly what I wanted to do. That's the career path that I always had myself going on. So it was fun for me. I could set up your itinerary. I could make you look good. Your guest was going to all these cool things, was doing all these fun things. And I had to layer it all in. I had to make sure they had transportation. I had to make sure that they were, at dinner at a certain time, at a show at a certain time. And all of it had to be seamless because you wanted to look good. We wanted to bring them back and gamble. And it was a fun process. And that was a really fun time in my life.
And to add on to that, I'm going to parse it just, you're right. I mean, if I'm gonna dissect it, I couldn't do one thing without people like Billy and the team around us. And there's you meet so many people in this business and only a few that you can truly count on.
It's about the connections. It's about who you know, and it's about how well you take care of people, because, to your point, I mean, that's really, I think I started a little bit before I started working in casino marketing, establishing those connections. But yeah, I mean, that's when, you forget to make that reservation for whatever restaurant, and I got to call them. I'm being as friendly as possible. When it comes to like transportation, I would bring donuts down to the people working in the dispatch area. When it comes into the entertainment world, there's all kinds of times. There's producers, there's all kinds of people that come in town that want to see something, and we have to make it happen. We're in that position. We have the connections, and I got to call some random person at a random show that I don't know and say, yeah, when you want to come to my show, I got you, but can you help me with that?
Oh yeah.
And people forget that, I think that's a beautiful thing about Vegas is it's about the connections. I don't think people realize. They see these massive properties. You see MGM and Bellagio and Venetian, all these massive properties, and you don't realize that within the doors of those properties are all these people that are all connected, and we all know somebody. We're all 6 degrees of each other, and we have to treat each other right, or else you don't get anywhere in this town.
And just to clarify too, though, we're not talking about Billy slipping someone 100 for a favor. We're talking about genuine human connection where
Yes.
you're sitting there. I know we boil it down to like donuts and things like that, or I got you, but you really get to know these people. You get to know who they are. You get to know about their family, where you're just saying, hey, how's the wife? How's the kids? How's this? How's that? You know them. It isn't just, I think sometimes Vegas people like to boil it down to a bottom line, right? Oh, it's just about the money, but it's not. I mean, I think people find real joy in helping other people. A lot of people don't get to see, the guests don't get to see it. Yeah, they talk to you and say, hey man, can you get me tickets? You're like, all right, let me access the network, and it's Billy and it's his friends and it's his friends and it's your friends. And I think that's a really great point that Vegas is so interconnected. You see the big casinos, you see the Wynn, this big, beautiful building, but who's working in that? It's a lot of people making things happen,
David, I think you made such a great point on the genuineness. It's not about the money. I mean, sure, the money is going to provide us our lives that we've built up, but what's going to last is that connection. We start finding the electricity amongst us, that truly that branch, that intertwined relationship that is real. The ones that aren't real will break off.
For people outside of Vegas that aren't in the industry like we are, I don't think they understand how important Chinese New Year or Lunar New Year is for us. It is a time in our year that we have amazing amount of visitors coming in town and wanting to enjoy all the different festivities. And it's a very different type of clientele. It's not the Super Bowl crowd. It's not the New Year's crowd. It's not a Mardi Gras crowd. It is a very high-end crowd that's coming in to gamble and looking for high-end experiences. Your Lunar New Year starts today. February 12th is the start of it, and it runs until February 17th. That's what this year. So this year is the year of the ox. Every year is a different, year of something. If you follow any of the history of it, and we in Vegas celebrate it as a party, and really the fun side of it. But there's definitely a very historical, cultural side of it as well. But the money the revenue that it generates for Las Vegas is ridiculous. And if people come in to visit, they don't understand when they come that like second week in February and room rates are high and they can't get into shows and they can't get into restaurants. They wonder why. What's going on? Is there a convention? No, it's Chinese New Year and you have no idea how busy it is. So I just wanted to give a little background. Feel free to add to it if you guys have anything that you wanted to add about how important it is to Las Vegas.
Well, this is something that and Billy, I don't know how you would qualify this, but what would you say the effect is of the Lunar New Year for entertainment? Do you see occupancy go up? Do you see it go down? Or like most other things, does it depend on the production? Because it seems to be, if there's a lot of speaking, that's English heavy, you don't tend to sell those shows out as much. Whereas if it's more of a visual spectacular, you really tend to see the occupancy rates for that skyrocket, you know? So it also gives you an understanding of the people taking care of those coming to celebrate, understand what their wants and their needs are, you know, and maybe this is something Stephen can add to, but like, what is, you know, the rest of the year is a little different than this lunar week. So what would you say the biggest difference is? Is it the traveler that's coming here? Do their likes are they different than what we would typically see throughout the year? Are the activities any different, or is it a typical Vegas customer just looking for fun?
I think the fact that there's just a vibe. It's part of the lights. It's part of the fact that the hotels embrace everything part of it. EDR Putong Hua Huishua EDR, I try to speak a little. Of course, Gong Hei Fat Choi is Happy New Year.
I'm gonna have to put translation underneath you.
I mean, they teach me, to say Hong Ba Le Na Lai, which is red envelope, please. So they're like teaching me. Oh, they love to have to respond. Oh, it's great to say Gong Hei Fat Choi and you just hit a point, Billy, on the service and on the high end customer, and I'll just tell you, old casino point of view. I mean, not even from the hotel sides of the fact that we don't have number 4s in our elevators. 14th floor, 4th floor, 60th, 50th, any 4th floor. It's all back, it's the celebration of spring. For them, it's their world Christmas. It's their New Year's.
No, I appreciate that. And, for me, I didn't know much about Chinese New Year, Lunar New Year growing up. I learned about it. I grew up in Las Vegas. I learned about it when I started working in the industry. And I think, even for my kids now, going to Bellagio and seeing their display that they do, and it brings in some of the culture and how some of the hotels decorate when, I mean, they go all out. I mean, you go there during these times and you just see the most amazing decorations and rolling out of the proverbial red carpet. I mean, that's a great transition, because the next thing I wanted to talk about was kind of things to do around town. It's interesting. There's still some really cool things happening around town. I'll just kind of mention a few of the kind of major things that are happening that I know about. Some of the strip properties have some amazing restaurants that are doing Lunar New Year specials and different celebrations. Caesar's Palace, you have Beijing Noodle. Cosmo, if you guys know anything about the Cosmopolitan, they are just a food mecca. They have a China Poblano, which is amazing. I don't know if you know other places. Huh?
That place is amazing. It's really, really something else.
Over at Venetian, they have 2 that they are promoting during this time. They have Majadamo meat and fish, and they also have Mott 32, which Mott 32 is a little bit newer. I think they just opened a few years ago, and they're amazing. I haven't been a chance to eat there, but I've heard amazing reviews from there. Over at the Sahara, you have the Northside Cafe, and then off strip for people that are more local and looking for things like that. You have JW Marriott. They have an amazing Asian kitchen. And if anybody, I'm sure all locals know this, but the Orleans, the Gold Coast, they just have a huge amount of Asian clientele that go there. So they have great Asian restaurants and just really kind of embrace that culture kind of off strip.
As Billy was saying, it's New Year's is till the 17th. So definitely reservations are going to be definitely needed. Can you get me in? What do you mean 5:30 and 9:45 are the only ones I can, the times I can get? I would like to say, add to Wing Lei at the Wynn, and Red 8 and Wazuzu and Mizumi over at the Encore are just amazing. And of course, at the Encore, if you want to check out, they've got 90,000 short ski crystals dragon that's displayed in the actual restaurant. It's just gorgeous, and it's such a cool time. And then, of course, for free stuff, you can always go check out the Bellagio fountains. Those, you can just be mesmerized with your whole family. And of course, you might get struck by like some some transformers or whatever, it's dancing cards. I'm not quite sure who's taking pictures out there right now with their masks on, but the sky's the limit. I love this town.
Well, thank you so much for bringing up something free too. I mean, yeah, along with the Bellagio fountains, you have the botanical gardens. You can almost make that a little bit of a destination. I've done that before. When you're looking for something cheap or free to do, I'll sometimes splurge and get some ice cream over at, Jean Philippe, just because why not? So I wanted
to the downtown Las Vegas experience. We can't forget about them too. Of course, they've made it feel safe. And I believe the fact that restaurants down there, you can make it an Epicurean evening with all your friends. Just say, okay, we're going to get an appetizer at like 5 different restaurants. And I'm sure you're going to get it's your favorite restaurants, even just.
No, I've actually done that before, just grabbing appetizers at the different places downtown. Downtown it's severely I know, but like as a whole, it's severely underrated as destination for food. They're doing some really, really cool things. I mean, I know they're kind of known for the bars, right? Like downtown cocktail room's been around for a while, and that is like classic mixology, like incredible. Yep. But truly, those restaurants, to your point, they're really doing something. There's some really good food downtown, know. So that's really. I'm glad you mentioned.
And I know that you weren't necessarily going this angle, but when it comes to downtown or the Strip, there's this really great company in town. If you guys have heard of Finger Lickin' Foodie Tours, I'm really good friends with the owner of it. Maybe we'll have his name's Donald. Maybe I'll have Donald on a future one. But he does exactly what you had said, David. You pay a very I think reasonable price, and you get to eat a signature dish at about 4 or 5 different restaurants. He has a downtown version, he has a Strip version, and it's really cool. And during COVID, he unveiled a self-guided. Normally, it's a very guided tour, and you have like maybe 10 people, and you all kind of move together. But since we couldn't do that, he did a self-guided tour, and he developed an app to make it work, and it's really cool. So I'm going to reach out to him to see if he wants to be on a future one, because I hadn't thought about that. But Steve, to your point, I feel like we've talked about Circa a lot. We're very excited about the new property that opened downtown, because we think it's brought a little bit of new life down there. I've worked at Golden Nugget, so I definitely have love for Golden Nugget and some of the older stuff down there. But Circa is cool. I don't know all of the restaurant offerings yet. I'm actually going to be going on a tour of the place next week. So I'm excited about that. But I'll be able to speak more to it, and I'm going to probably shoot a little video so I can share it on one of our future broadcasts.
That really, I'm psyched for things to open up and to be safer. Mostly, I really want to go to Circa. Like I'm such an addict. Like I live downtown, right? So like this is like my jam, right? And it's just been a real shame. The only place I have visited downtown throughout this entire quarantine, in all of COVID, is Ferguson's. Since they have the outdoor area, you can grab a coffee if you want, or you can just hang out in their little area, and it's a very cool spot. They're doing really cool things there. It definitely is a different appeal than the Strip, but downtown's still a really great spot to find some really awesome little gems.
I think we're just gonna have to put like on the YouTube. We'll do a little shout out to your friend Billy and give him like, hey, you want a tour of food? Call this guy. But the 3 of us need to go, Billy, David, and Stevie G, down to Las Vegas and show you guys what we're talking about, and kind of put our experience to the test.
Comes in, and Macau is one of the destinations also for this celebration for Lunar New Year. I kind of looked into a few things. So I'm going to read a little bit of what I found, and then maybe we can discuss it. Macau starts off 2021 with a 63.7% decline. So they started out the year in a pretty significant decline, although they, with 1 billion monthly total, it was actually 3% up from where they were in December. So although they're seeing a decline year over year, they were significantly up from where they were in December. So that's actually showing an upward trend, which is I think really promising and really good for them. So with Las Vegas, with the Sands, Venetian resorts, Wynn Resorts, and MGM Resorts all having major properties out there, it's a big deal to Las Vegas. They're kind of a sister city to us, if you want to look at it that way. So what's your experience with Macau and how the properties here have, you know, kind of opened up something out there, and what it means to Las Vegas?
I've been to Macau personally, and you know, of course, magnificent. I mean, it's giant. When you're in Hong Kong, you have to take a hydro boat. It takes about 35 to 45 minutes to get to the island of Macau. Most people don't know that it's an actual separate island, but it is. And years ago, we were doing 17 billion a quarter. And as Billy was saying, you know, now we're like, oh, we're up a billion. And I've never seen anything like it before.
I've only ever seen pictures of Macau, but to hear your description makes it really sound like, you know, almost like of mythical proportion. You know what I mean? And it just seems like on a scale that, well, we're accustomed to something here that's just like a whole other scale. So that's a really interesting insight you bring there.
You're absolutely right. I've as I said, they were having people being the actual chip. I mean, you could participate yourself and jump into the game. It's like, it was that big. Hey, you know what though? I mean, again, as you said, Billy, I mean, you know, we've experienced, and we have so many stories. I'm like, you know, of course, my book, I have 93 chapters. I'm just looking for a good writer to write it up. And, you know, my title of my book is What Happens in Vegas Stays in Vegas. You cross out stays in Vegas, and is this ...
Awesome, right, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right, you guys.
Talk to you later.
Cheers.
Bye.
All right, bye.
Okay, guys. So thank you so much for watching this and being part of the conversation. It was great to talk to Steve. You know, like we said throughout the video, I've known him for many years, and it was really great to reconnect with him. I think that's one of the beautiful things about doing this through Zoom, and you know where we're at. I mean, and we're on an unfortunate situation right now, but you know I think we're finding a silver lining, and one of those silver linings is that you know we're able to talk to a lot of different people and do it in the comfort of their own home and their own spaces, and that's what we did today. So I really appreciate it. So don't forget to subscribe and like to all of our videos, and we hope to talk to you again soon. Thank you. Bye.